Hi, Christine.
Hi, Professor.
It's great to catch up. And I know that you are leading now the Accenture Song in China. Can you tell us something more about your work at Accenture at the moment?
Sure. Accenture Song is one of the service groups of Accenture. So people probably know a lot about Accenture as the consulting firm with very strong technology and operational capabilities. Accenture Song is a relatively new service leg within this corporation. We focus on generating customer growth through front-end engagement, including marketing, commerce, service, so on and so forth.
And I also heard that this is actually a main theme that I want to discuss with you. I've heard that you have applied quite a lot of generative AI technologies in your everyday work already. So that's something our students are highly, interested in. Can you tell me something more in that
Yeah.
paper?
Of course. Generative AI, since it was public about 2 years ago now, it's been attracting a lot of attention.
Yes, true.
And Accenture, as the leading technologically focused consulting enterprise, that at the moment that we knew this new technology is coming out, that we deploy very widely the generative AI into our daily working life and also embedded into our services too. But by us internally deeply adopting the generative AI, so everyone in the organization would be the first-hand user, so that our recommendations and our understanding of this new technology would also be more relevant to our clients.
It's true that generative AI can be a very powerful tool to enhance efficiency. I feel like it shouldn't stop there either, right? And as your work is helping the clients to find future growth, I really wonder then, how can you transfer that enhancement in efficiency into more creativity, innovation for your clients and also for your own work as well?
Of course, efficiency is the very easily thinkable benefit
it's kind of like
everyone would understand
right.
In terms of, for example, in creative content. So people easily imagine in the past, if I use human resources, I would spend probably 4 hours for an image adaptation. Now it's just about a few minutes or even seconds. But then later on, after we started using that, we just explore what we say, that we open a Pandora box. So we explore that. It's not just about efficiency. It is also about the engine itself would tell you something that you did not think of. So take the example of content creation again. So in the past, that we will tell the human resources what images to adapt. So the brief is exactly in what kind of scenario, and then if there is certain figures, certain either human beings or animals, and this is what you do or what you don't do. Right now, if we use the generative AI, the engine itself will be able to produce something, I would say, within your expectation, but still generate surprises. So logically, because it's the machine already trained from the data and also from the internal data and also external data, that this would be what you probably can think of. So in the world, again, I use the example of creative. It's the high level of personalization. So in the past, we probably, very easily male, female personalization, age, generation. So it's still very broad. Very little have we explored into a really, personalized experience to that particular audience. So in that way that we were considering, so personalization is unlimited. We will be able to create as many personalization options as possible, instead of us in the past decade that we have limited ourselves in terms of, because we only have this much of resources and then we could only do maybe 2-3 different personas. Now with the generative AI, we were able to produce as many as possible, and the front-end technology could also adapt the content to a very personalized example, because everyone basically now has his or her own mobile phone. So that is giving the possibility of pushing the right information to the right audience with the right message. And this could also be easily replicated to the marketing department as well, because a lot of previously basing on personal experience could all now be translated to AI-driven analytics and also providing different insight. So for marketing, For example, in the past, the persona was driven from like in-house interviews, the surveys, and then think about our product might be able to fit for persona A, B, and C. And that's limited. When the brand decided the persona is A, B, and C, for a very long period of time, it's not going to change because it would, drastically change the brand communication. Yeah. But is it true now? No. It's the same product. On some digital platforms, in the past, people say it's called 人找货, so it's a consumer looking for product. It's now right now, it's the product's there. The product will find its suitable target audience. So you don't have to define. But how do you find those target audience? And then generative AI will be able to grab all the data and then find those who have this connection and that connection with your product, with your product story. And then the algorithm will train yourself into making the right content. And then making the content and then pushed through the most relevant channels. So for example, what we do with hotel groups. In the past, the hotel groups will always center about what they want to tell the hotel experience. So either it's like a beautiful sceneries, or it's like a beautiful room. A lot of them feature the beautiful bathrooms, and some would feature like food and beverage, the cuisine experience. But then after they collect all the information, they found that it's not just what I would like to tell them, the consumers, it's about how I get the consumer's real travel experience. And then I can tailor the right information. So the algorithm will train the content machine to generate hundreds of different content and then push to the right audience. So right now we are exploring how generative AI will fundamentally change the communication. The communication within an organization, like ourselves, and the communication with your external counterpart. So if, for example, a brand with its consumer, right now we are talking about it's the brand pushing the message to the consumer, the real consumer, him or herself. But in the future, we would consider something is about the brand, how the brand would communicate with the consumer's bot. And then we need to think of other things in the new technology, a new paradigm. How are we going to adapt the relationship between human and bot, bot and bot, and human and human? So that would be very interesting. We don't have a perfect answer. Even when I was watching the OpenAI's new release, that Sam Altman, he was also inspiring. This is a technology. It's all up to the business, the individuals to use the new technologies. I feel quite excited about how the future paradigm would evolve, and then we are all part of that.
On the individual level. Because ideally, we think that with the generative AI, they can do a lot of the routine work. That means our employees, or every one of us, can actually put our precious time to do something that is more meaningful and creative. But that's like, in the ideal situation. But in reality, I've done some research. I saw that indeed individuals can be quite worried also about this change. The anxiety can come from the fear of losing their jobs, or sometimes even a sense of loss of aim of life, right? Like we can imagine, for example, someone who is very fond of painting. He or she might spend a lot of time practicing these skills, and now with generative AI can easily do some creative work with quite high quality. Maybe that can somehow dampen people's motivation of learning and actually be engaged into such kind of creative work. So what's your observation on that? And also as a leader of your company, how would you try to encourage or guide your employees to better embrace AI to boost their creativity instead of dampen it?
Yeah, great. It's a very acute observation of how human beings and every one of us are facing a change or a renovational change that is coming up. I would say there are two folds. The first one is we should all be responsible for how technology evolves. That's what also Accenture advocates a lot. When everyone is kind of like, this is a new topic, we should all in generative AI. Whilst Accenture will always say that we need to know what we do. And then the term of responsible AI is now what we advocate, all of ourselves and also our clients, the business, and also the community. Because technology, if not used in a correct way, the side effect is going to be quite scary to everyone. And then, we don't have to think about all the scary things. However, so right now we are talking about how do we set the right foundation? How do we legally acquire the right data? And then how do we put the right algorithm in place to train the large language model? And then we need to always test the initial result of the output of generative AI so that we would timely correct what is right, what is wrong. So responsible AI and also the legal foundation and also the society, the common practice of the society would also need to adapt to accept this new technology. And this is not just government initiated, it should be everyone's responsibility because we are all part of that. So this is one fold, it's about responsible AI. We should all be responsible for the input that we from time to time, we are all part of that. We will all input to generative AI. So what we do, our behavior, our right mindset would also influence the output of the algorithms.
And I think it's really very important to remind everybody that we need to put human first. We need to cherish what makes human beings human beings. And so humanity is again becoming actually a keyword when we are building responsible AI. To be more accurate, maybe when we build the organization that is supported by generative AI, we really need to think about the purpose of it. I think efficiency, for instance, is only one part.
It's the KPI.
Exactly. But we have so much things more that may be softer than efficiency, but for human beings, that's highly valuable.
I actually have a new observation, just to your point. Accenture Song releases annually the research report is called Life Centricity. And that actually will do worldwide research of what people cares and then how we can curate a longer term human experience and also brand to consumer experience. That's what we call it life centricity. The recent release, in fact, gave us some deep thought. One of the findings is that consumers are tired. Tired because of the bombarding of all the digital ads, all the messages that when you open your screen that you're passively that you receive a lot of information.
The overload of
exactly. So I see when you're nodding, you're part of that community as well. That we are bombarded with all the maybe excessive message. And then a consumer's feeling would be that this is always push me to click and buy, click and buy. So that also trained the brand over the past decade, I would say. It's all about, chasing the KPI, the efficiency. Now, e-commerce is flourishing, and then later on, it's the Douyin is flourishing, and the Little Red Book is flourishing. We all need to be there. And when we are there, all our resources all in that platform.
And we all need to consume as well. It's
exactly.
Like consumption symbolizes who we are.
Yeah, exactly. So there is a very general feeling, not just in China, also worldwide as well. Consumers feel like tired. And what they are lacking, they feel that they are not loved. They're not loved because every message for me is single direction. Ask me to buy. This is the right product for you, and then this is the right price for you. You need to buy. And then after the purchase, okay, you are done. Because your conversion KPI is already achieved. So then I rush to the next brand. And then people would say, what is my experience with a brand? So for example, we are all ladies that we buy like beauty products, we buy perfume. The moment we buy, yes, we feel excited. And then afterwards, what is my experience with the brand before, during, and post? So now we advocate our clients in terms of this is the time for us to rethink about our brand strategy, to show more love to your consumers.
Well, in such a transformative age, like, do you have any suggestions to our students in CEIBS? I would very much to know as well, like, what your experiences in CEIBS has, helped you maybe in your work life.
I still think about my CEIBS experience a life-changing moment. Prior to I took the EMBA course, I was doing corporate finance.
Oh.
So I did corporate finance for 15 years.
That's very different from what you are doing now.
It's very different. The 2 years on campus really widened my perspective and then inspired me to think about what do I need, what motivates me, and also the interactions with all the professors, our classmates, and also all the alumni. Absorb what people would think who I am, and that gives me 2 years of deeply thinking what is my future, and then how I would like to explore my potential, my interest, and then making this learning curve more productive. Soon after I graduated from the EMBA program, I was exploring really something that is very new. But I always know my interest, my passion is I want to know people. So when I was doing corporate finance, my counterparts always say that you are different type of finance. You're not like crunching the numbers. You know more about the business. You know more about how the logic and then what are the thoughts behind this strategy. So when I adapted myself for a change, I was thinking like I am interested in exploring and knowing more about human interaction.
And human skills is so important nowadays in the AI age, right?
Correct.
Because that's something AI cannot replace as well.
That's why I say this learning curve is a life-changing moment. It inspired me to think, inspired me to understand myself, and it gave me like the last push I would need to make some change that would may not be successful, but at least I tried. So my advice to
and it turned out to be quite successful as well.
Thank you. So my advice to the fellow alumni and also the students on campus is that use the moment on campus and get as much interaction with people that you get a chance to. And think about who you are, think about where your passion is, and just go out and try.
Really believe in. Thank you very much, Christine.
Thank you, Professor.
Such a fruitful conversation, and I hope you are enjoying your visits to campus.
Very much. Each time, never fails. Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you.